Ever wonder what really makes someone a fluent reader? You know, the kind of person who just glides through books? Well, I'll tell you one thing. It's not about memorizing words like they're little pictures. Today, we're diving into the powerful brain science that's the real key to reading, and it's absolutely fascinating. For years, a lot of people thought we learned to read just by recognizing the shape of a word. But what brain science actually shows us is something totally different. We just don't store words as pictures. And we definitely don't memorize them by their outlines. So if it's not about visual memory, then what in the world is going on in our heads when we read? And here it is. This is the secret sauce. Our brain builds a permanent, super strong connection between the individual sounds in a word and the letters on the page. It's not memorizing, it's mapping. And that one idea, it changes everything. And this amazing process, it actually has a name. It's called orthographic mapping. You could think of it as the secret engine that drives lifelong reading fluency. Getting this is the first step to unlocking truly effortless reading. But before we can really appreciate how orthographic mapping works, we kind of have to clear the deck. We need to tackle some of those big, common myths about reading. We've got to unlearn what doesn't work so we can make room for what absolutely does. So many of us were taught using these myths, right? Memorizing endless word lists, using pictures to guess what a word is. That's the old way. The science, though, shows that strong readers are actually decoding sounds, linking those tiny sounds called phonemes to letters, and building permanent pathways in the brain. It's a completely different approach. So how does this all become so automatic it feels natural? Well, here's a mind-blowing fact for you. Unlike speaking, reading is not a natural human ability. Our brains don't have a pre-installed reading center. We actually have to build it, literally hijacking parts of our brain meant for other things, like recognizing objects. And orthographic mapping, that's the blueprint our brain uses for the construction job. Which, leads to a pretty huge question. If we aren't hardwired to read from birth, how on earth does our brain pull off this incredible trick? The answer is all about neuroplasticity, the brain's amazing power to rewire itself and forge new connections just for this very specific, very human invention. So let's get a really clear definition. Orthographic mapping is the mental process where our brain connects a word's sounds, its phonemes, to the specific letters or letter patterns that make those sounds. Once that connection is solid, that word is locked in, ready for you to recognize in an instant. The easiest way to think about it is like this. Orthographic mapping is literally your brain's save button for words. And this isn't like saving something to your desktop for a little while. This is saving it to a permanent hard drive for instant access, forever. And when you hit that save button over and over, you create a true sight vocabulary, one built on deep brain connections, not flimsy memorization. And what does that give you? Oh, just fluent reading, really strong spelling, and decoding that's lightning fast. Okay, so we know what it is, we know why it's so important, but now for the really cool part. How does the brain actually do this? It all comes down to 3 essential pillars that work together to build a fluent reader from the ground up. Here's how it all comes together. First up, you need phonemic awareness. That's just the ability to hear that the word cat is made of 3 separate sounds, k, a, t. Next, you need your phonics skills to connect those sounds to the letters you see on the page. Finally, after a little practice, those connections fuse together and bam, you get instant recognition. Look, theory is one thing, but let's make this real. We're going to walk through exactly how a young reader's brain would use orthographic mapping on a simple word like lamp. So, it all starts with the sounds. The brain first isolates the 4 distinct phonemes in the word lamp. L, A, M, P. That's that phonemic awareness pillar doing its job. Next comes the magic. The brain takes those individual sounds and anchors them, one by one, to the letters on the page. The L sound gets mapped to the letter L, A to A, and so on. The sounds and letters bond together to form the whole word, lamp. Now, this doesn't happen just once, but after just a few times successfully sounding out the word lamp, that neural connection becomes rock solid. The brain doesn't have to decode it anymore. It sees lamp and it just knows. That feeling of instant knowing, that is orthographic mapping. And this is so crucial to understand. This isn't just some helpful little reading tip. This is a total game changer. For every single learner out there, developing this skill is what separates the struggling readers from the fluent ones. It's that important. I mean, just look at the difference here. Without this skill, Reading is slow, it's painful, it's full of guessing. Spelling is a constant battle, and it's just frustrating. But with orthographic mapping, reading becomes fast and accurate. Spelling gets stronger, and the whole experience becomes empowering instead of defeating. So if you take away just one thing from all of this, let it be this. Orthographic mapping is the single most critical, most important factor in building a brain that can read fluently and without effort. It's the whole ballgame. Which really leaves us with this final, powerful thought. Trying to memorize thousands of words as if they're pictures, well, that strategy is doomed. That kind of memory is fragile, and it dies. But mapping, building those deep, lasting connections between sounds and letters, that lasts a lifetime.